Today we're looking at something special. I've got some very high quality watch straps and a watch pouch from Caseback Watches. Now, Caseback Watches is another channel here on YouTube run by Tim over in Germany, and he is a watch reviewer, a watch enthusiast, but he's a man of many talents, and somewhat recently he's drifted into leatherworking as a hobby of his. And he has combined that interest in leatherworking and watches to open up his own shop that sells watch accessories. Some of the products are handmade by Tim himself, while others are made by a small company in southern Germany that he managed to find to produce exactly the kind of watch straps that he wanted for his watches. Given that these products are made from the highest quality leather, these are on the more premium side as far as price is concerned. But given the level of quality that we have here, I think they're well worth it. Now, Tim did give me these products for free to review, which is why you saw the paid promotions flag at the beginning of this video. However, other than these straps and the pouch itself, Tim did not provide any compensation for this review, nor did he have any control over the content of this review. So with that said, I'm going to pair these straps up with some of my favorite watches from my collection and see if they can kind of elevate them and make them something more than they were before. So Tim sent over 3 products from his shop. We have 2 watch straps, which he commissioned a small workshop in Germany to make. And then we have a watch pouch that he made himself. And the quality on all 3 of these products is absolutely outstanding. Everything from the materials used to the stitching and construction is just absolutely top notch here. So I'm going to start with the 2 watch straps and then we'll check out the watch pouch next. The 2 straps that I asked him to send over were the Caseback Watches leather strap number 2 and the Caseback Cordovan Scotch. The Caseback Watches strap number 2 is made from Italian cowhide leather. It's priced at 86 euros on his shop, which is around 95 US dollars, while the Cordovan Scotch colored strap is made from horse leather, which all Cordovan leather is. Cordovan is typically seen as a more premium leather, and we'll get into the reasons for that why in just a minute, but because of that, the cost is a little bit higher at 99 euros or about 110 US dollars. So both of these straps are definitely coming in more on the luxury side of things. These are very fine leather products that are probably going to be most at home on high-end luxury watches, but they will also definitely elevate a lower priced watch. At first glance, you might wonder about putting a $100 strap on something like a $500 watch, but in a lot of ways, it can make some sense. There are a lot of amazing watches under $1,000 that kind of cheap out a bit on the straps to get their prices down into that price range. So it's not uncommon to wind up with a watch that you absolutely love with a strap that kind of takes it down a notch. So I think there are definitely a lot of cases where a really good strap like this will elevate a watch to make it a great watch. Now, Tim said his goal when he was looking to get these straps made is to create a strap with long-lasting quality. So these straps are made out of very high quality leather that not only looks beautiful, but is going to age and patina well. These are leathers that will last for a long time without developing a lot of creasing and fraying. And the construction and hardware on both of these is top notch. From a design standpoint, you would probably initially think of these as dress straps, straps for dress watches primarily. But I don't think that's necessarily the case here. These are a very simple kind of standard style of watch strap that will work on pretty much any watch. These will be well suited for dress watches, but they'll work equally well on sports watches. I think anything with a touch of elegance, even like a chronograph or a dressy diver, is going to look great on these straps as well as any dress watch. Both of these straps had a pretty substantial feel as soon as I took them out of the packaging, especially the Cordovan leather one. They are not flimsy leather straps at all. The top layer of leather feels thick. It's also padded and then lined underneath. So there's actually kind of a lot going on to the construction of these straps, even though they look very simple. And one result of that is that out of the package, they don't feel like they have a lot of immediate flexibility. These felt like straps that were going to take some time to break in. But I think that is a sign of the quality of the leather that's being used here and the construction that's going on here. If you want a really good watch strap that is going to last a long time, it needs to be well constructed and thick. Typically, if you get a strap that requires no break-in, that's very flexible and kind of flimsy right out of the box, it's not necessarily going to last that long. And so when you start looking to invest this much money in a watch strap, you want something that's going to be substantial, that's going to give you many years of use. And I think that's what these straps bring to the table here. Now, that said, I was actually surprised at how quickly these did break in. They were a bit stiff on the wrist initially, but after about a day of wear, they started to really mold and conform to the shape of my wrist, and they became very comfortable. You kind of start to get this custom fit that's really sort of tailored to you, and that's kind of a cool thing. Now, that does mean that after you take these off the wrist, they tend to retain a bit of a curvature to them. They don't immediately lay back flat again, but you can kind of massage them and get them flat if you need to for storage. But I say that just to kind of give you a feel for the type of leather that we're dealing with here. The hardware on these straps is also top-notch. The buckle in particular was really impressive with the thickness of the metal and the finishing on it. Again, it feels like a very durable buckle, and yet it is finished to a high polished gloss that's very smooth. There's no sharp edges, and the steel doesn't have any flex to it. It feels very sturdy. The spring bars also feel like very high quality spring bars. I did find the springs inside to be a little bit on the stiff side, which made it kind of difficult to install the strap. And I felt that the leather itself was also a bit of a tight fit, getting it in between the lugs. I ordered 20 millimeter straps, and these seemed like maybe they were just a hair over 20 millimeters in width. So these were not as easy to install as a lot of other straps that I've worked with. The upside to that is that once the straps were installed, they felt very secure to the watch. And this is very important, especially if you're going to be installing it on an expensive watch. You want spring bars that are not going to fail. You want good spring bars in there, and these definitely feel like that. But the downside is that with the stiffness of those springs, it is a little bit difficult to get in there, and you do risk scratching the underside of your lugs a bit if you're not careful. Finally, the keepers are also very high quality. They use the exact same leather that is used on the top side of the watch straps. And this is something that Tim pointed out directly as an indication of the quality of the straps. He mentioned that oftentimes on lower quality straps, you're going to find a lower quality leather there, and that's going to be one of the first points of failure on a strap. And the quality of the leather on those little keepers is excellent quality, just like the rest of the strap. Now, while the construction and design of these straps is pretty much identical, the look is going to vary a lot depending on the type of leather that you choose. And we have two different kinds of leather here. Again, the Caseback watches leather strap number 2 is made out of Italian cowhide, while the Caseback Cordovan is made out of horse leather, Cordovan horse leather. Both of these have a very beautiful finish and look to them, but they are also very different. The cowhide is done in a kind of caramel colored finish, and this is kind of your classic full grain leather look. It's beautifully polished with a nice sheen to it. There's a suppleness to the leather, and this looks like one that's just going to really break in great and age well. I feel like this light brown color gives off more of a casual vibe, and for me, this is one that I really want to pair with a lot of my sports watches. I think it looked especially good on my Squale dive watch, really matching the kind of casual elegance that dive watch gives off. The Cordovan strap felt thicker and more substantial and a little bit stiffer because of that. The color here is listed as Scotch, and it is kind of a medium reddish brown. And Cordovan has an incredibly smooth, glossy finish to it. There's definitely a shine here that I feel like lends it a little bit of a dressier feel, which is why I paired it up with my Seiko Presage that has an Irishi dial. And I love how that high gloss finish on the leather really matches the high gloss dial on this watch. Cordovan leather in particular is known for its smoothness and for retaining its finish without developing creases for a long period of time. And the finish on this leather is just really amazing. I've tried a number of Horween straps that look on the surface like they have similar design and style to these, kind of more dressy straps. And those I spent around $40 or so on. And I can tell you, these definitely feel like a much higher quality strap, both from the construction of every aspect to it and of the leather that's being used here. The craftsmanship and the materials are both the best I've ever seen on a leather strap. And for straps of this quality, the price is actually very reasonable. Okay, let's move on to the Solo watch pouch. And this is one that Tim made himself, so I was kind of excited to check that one out. Now, Tim is not a leather worker by trade. It's kind of more of a hobby that he picked up. So I half expected the watch pouch that he made to be maybe of a little bit lower quality than the professionally made straps that he has, but that actually wasn't the case at all. This is also made of beautiful Italian leather, but it's a leather that he took and hand dyed himself to give it a very custom finish. It's a beautiful, deep, dark brown with reddish undertones. And the stitching, the hardware, the finishing on the edges, everything is just absolutely outstanding. Design-wise, this is a fairly simple product. It's just a pouch with a snap closure at the top. The interior of the pouch is unlined, so it just has that soft suede-like texture on the underside of the leather. And included with the pouch is a little square piece of leather that you can put in between a bracelet to keep the underside of the clasp from scratching against the case back. This is a very simple and very elegant way to store a single watch for travel. You can quickly tuck an extra watch into there and then put it into your bag without having to worry about it getting scratched or banged around. And it just gives off a really nice feeling of quality when you take it out and use it like fine leather goods often do. The one thing that you do need to be aware of with this pouch is that it is designed for small to medium-sized watches. And even on small to medium-sized watches, it is a tight fit. The leather here is very thick and has a bit of structure and stiffness to it, which I think will help protect the watches. But because of that, when you slide the watch in, the leather does have to stretch and kind of conform a bit to the watch that's being put in. And as a result, you're going to start to see some creasing and some stretch marks on the outside of that leather. Now, for me personally, I like the look of that. I think it's kind of a cool thing that the pouch is conforming and molding to the shape of your watch. And again, giving off this kind of personalized patina to the watch that's inside of it. But if you're looking for a pouch that's going to maintain a consistent finish over time, this is not going to give you that. I also found this pouch to be better suited to watches on bracelets than straps. On some of my watches, particularly ones that are on a little bit on the larger side, the strap would be too long and it would poke out the top of the pouch, making it difficult or impossible to close. But I was able to fit most of my watches that I have on a bracelet, even up to a 42mm dive watch, into the pouch, even though it was a bit of a tight fit. Now, a pouch like this is not going to offer you the same level of protection that a hard case would. You can pick up pretty inexpensive zip cases that have a hard plastic outer that are going to protect your watch better than this, but they're not going to look nearly this good, and this does offer a pretty good amount of protection to your watch. And because of the slim profile here, it's also going to result in the watch being more easy to slip into something like a briefcase or even a pocket, so there's that benefit as well. All right, that's going to wrap up the review for today. Links to purchase these are down in the description if you are interested. And even if you're not, I would highly recommend that you check out Caseback Watch's channel. It is one of my favorite watch channels here on YouTube. Tim always has an interesting take on watches, and he has some interesting tastes in watches as well. He's not featuring the same ones that I often see on a lot of other channels, my own included. Also, drop me a comment down below. I'd love to hear your take on these products. And while I don't have any high quality straps or accessories in my shop, I do have some cool sweatshirts like this one, so you can check this out at justthewatch.com. Anyways, that will wrap it up for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.